welcome back to Come to the Table. I'm so excited you've decided to join me today. I have very dear friends with me today here at the table. Tim and Dana Herrera are with us today, and they have quite the story. So, hi guys, welcome in.
Thank you. We're welcome to be here.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for coming. I'm so excited to talk about this because you guys have a very interesting story about how you came to be here in Oklahoma and all of that. And we're going to talk about that. And then what it is that the Lord called you to do here in Oklahoma, which is very exciting. So let's get started on that. Let's talk first about how you guys came to Messianic faith.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So we were living in Colorado, and I was born and raised in Colorado, so it was just normal thing, a lot of family roots, a lot of everything coming in, and we had just come across a very hard time in our life, just very much being tested, and just one thing after another, raising a teenager, and
that's always hard.
yeah. And then coming across a lot of challenges in life, like my wife became disabled and couldn't work. And so we started out this new life with all this debt and really didn't know what was going on. We wound up going to a congregation that was right down the road from us. And we started to really get interested into the Lord at that point of how that was working. And then we got baptized in that, and then we started to ask questions. And those questions weren't really being answered.
Yeah. So this was a church you were going to.
Yeah, it was a church that we started to ask, well, why do we do this? And why do we do that? And my wife
really seeking the scriptures, and things were being revealed to us. And so we were asking the pastors, and excited every week, this is what the Lord's showing me. And then one week it was, this is what the Lord's showing me. I'm so excited. Why are we doing this? And he goes, yeah, we don't teach that here. Oh. You need to go down the road. And pointed to a Messianic congregation. And,
wow.
That had a Hebrew name, and we were like, wait, what?
What is that?
What is that? And why are you telling us to leave? And kind of hearing that story across the board from a lot of people, that the Lord is revealing things in Scripture.
Yes.
That how He wants us to walk.
Yeah.
Now that we're part of His family, He says, this is how you need to live, and if you do that, I will bless you.
That's right. And you're right. First of all, it always, whenever I hear other testimonies too of we were going to a church and they said go somewhere else, that's shocking to me.
Yeah.
It's because you're saying to the leadership, the Lord's revealing this to me. The Lord is showing me something. Yeah. Can you help me with that? And they're saying, no. We don't do that here, and you need to go. I mean, that is shocking.
It is.
It's shocking, but I think we all have heard the stories of we were in church first, and then the Lord started revealing things, and we just naturally moved over and found a Messianic. For us and for my family, it was we said, this is interesting. Something's happening, and all of a sudden, surfing YouTube one day, and I found this really interesting program called Messianic World Update, and that's how we were like. I was like, "Wow, that's interesting. Who is that?"
Yeah,
right.
So, and then had another mentor and all of that, but I just find it so shocking that the pastor and some of the church leaders said to you, go down the road.
Right.
When the Lord started to reveal that to us, that, we inherited the lies of our forefathers.
Yes.
And later we realized, we're living prophecy here.
Yes.
The Lord knew that we were going to be inheriting the lies of our forefathers. And so I had a friend of mine say, there's this gentleman in Monument that is teaching. Will you come with me? And I was, I'll go with you. But I took my Bible with me, and I was going to prove everything that he said was wrong.
Yes.
It was the first time that I found somebody that was actually teaching what Scripture said and
Wow.
not their opinion.
Yeah.
And that was Monty.
Wow. So you actually encountered Monty
In 2010, I think.
in Colorado.
In Monument,
Wow.
Colorado.
That's amazing. I did
Yeah.
not know that.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So from there, you begin your Messianic journey. And what happened
So
from there?
things started to get a little bit more revealed to us because she was in a lot of pain because of her disability. And
Yeah.
they kept loading her up with more and more pain medications, more
dear.
and more
Yeah.
and more and more. And it was not getting any better. And it afforded her the ability to really dig into the scriptures and really that was her.
Yeah.
She couldn't do much of anything, but she was able to read into the scriptures. And I was actually still starting to come along into that.
Mm-hmm.
And one day it just kind of came about when she was on so much medication. The doctors are really good about putting Band-Aids on things, but
Yes.
they couldn't heal things from within.
Yes.
And I had just we were doing stuff at my work, and we were talking about IgG levels and inflammation. And I went to her pain physician. I said, we need to draw these levels to see what that's all about. And he kind of looked at me weird. And I said, no, we just need to see what this is. And it turns out her inflammatory markers were through the roof.
Yes.
And it wasn't necessarily because of the trauma that was in her back, but then we started to kind of look at a few things and read a few books and realized that there was some things going on with the food. And so we looked at her diet and we started to eliminate all the different processed foods. And
The Lord
Yes.
actually revealed that through Scripture when it was in Genesis when he was talking about the seed. And we discovered that there's a difference in the seeds that we have today.
Yes.
There are seeds that has been made by our Creator, and there are seeds that are made by man
Yes.
in a lab. Mm-hmm. And so the first thing that we did was remove all of the genetically modified foods from our diet.
Yep. Hallelujah.
That was in October.
Wow.
And that was the first winter that I was not bedridden from my pain.
Wow. That's amazing. That's really amazing. And
Yeah.
I just want to say for our audience, you're a nurse, Tim,
Yep.
and you actually train nurses as part of your work today. And so I just in listening to you guys talk about that piece right there, I thought, wow, what if you hadn't been in the medical field?
right,
Right.
You might still be not well.
Right.
right.
And that's
Right.
what's so I just want to scream from the rooftops sometimes, you
Yes.
know, about people who know me and us know that we're all about the natural and the getting back to the simple things and how God made them for us to eat or to experience. And the same thing happened with us. We had started on the paleo diet was the first thing Mom and I tried. And man, the weight came off quickly, but I kept thinking to myself, there's something not quite there with this because
needs to be tweaked.
It's eliminating things, which you do need to do sometimes. But I did notice that the first thing they have you do when you're following that, or sometimes people call it the primal diet, whatever you call it, they tell you, and we did exactly this, go in your pantry and pull out everything that's in a box or a pouch or a package. And I mean, we had bags and bags and bags that we gave to my niece, actually, to share with her family. But once we cleared all that out, we were like, well, what do we eat now? You know, but of course you find out along the way that you just get back to real whole food.
Yeah.
So something that I want to bring up, and I wish more people would understand as we were talking about this, is that Monsanto is the seed company that was putting out the glyphosate, and Roundup is what people are knowing, and all the lawsuits that are going in, they're being sued over and over and over again. And I understand that. That's not, I mean, I have a problem with that, but the bigger problem that I have, and it made us even work a little bit further into what our deal is today, is that Monsanto was purchased by a pharmaceutical company. It was purchased by Bayer. So my mind has to automatically go, why is a pharmaceutical company buying the seeds? Is there something...
And a chemical company.
And the chemical company, so that they can make the seeds to grow the plants. I'm going to go out on a limb here, but to create a problem that they can have a fix for.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where we were kind of like, I'm surprised more people don't know that, or why it wasn't in a big uproar.
Yes, well, and we were just talking the other day about the newest finding on the medical scene. There's actually some reports out now that doctors and medical labs, when people are getting their blood work done, that glyphosate is actually showing up in the blood and the urine. And it's like, wow, my goodness. Right. So yes, something to be very concerned about health-wise. And so you guys eliminated packaged or GMO food so that you didn't have any of that in, and you began to get well.
Yes.
That's amazing.
So we not only removed it from our kitchens and our pantry, but then we discovered that I was having egg sensitivities, and a friend of mine had said, well, if you don't feed your chickens what you're allergic to, then you can eat the egg. And that was not anything
Eureka.
I'd ever heard before. And I said, well, I'm allergic to corn. And she said, so am I. And what are the odds of that? And I said, can I buy a dozen eggs from you?
Yeah.
And I ate a dozen eggs in 3 days and had no reaction.
And you just think to yourself,
So
wow.
exciting.
Yes.
Right. So now we drive to Texas to get our chicken food.
Yes.
Because we can't seem to find a corn-free, soy-free, because the corn crops and the soy crops in the United States are heavily sprayed and genetically modified. I think it's 85% of the corn crops in the United States are genetically modified.
Yes.
And I think it's 95% of the soy crops.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Genetically modified.
Yeah.
And so,
So like another thing that kind of hits me as I get older, I didn't realize it at the time, but I'm a rather big guy.
Yes. Tim is very tall.
But I'm actually the tallest person in my family.
Wow.
So, and nobody else in my family is anywhere close to my height. My dad was 6 foot. I'm really starting to think back in the day when my parents were just going off of, give my kid milk, give him milk, give him milk. And how much of the growth hormone that was actually given to those kids has caused people to be a lot bigger than their parents. I know it was always a good thing to be like, oh, you're taller than your mom and your dad. That's great. And then...
But then you start to think about it. And it's funny that you bring that up, because when my daughter was young, she started her cycle young, very, very young, just before she was 12. And I thought, that's weird, you know. But when I took her to the pediatrician says, does she drink milk? Does she eat yogurt and cheese and all that kind of stuff? And I said, well, of course. Yes, of course. And he said, well, there's human growth hormone given to, generally speaking, given to cows, and this was 20 years ago, and it still is now, but 20 years ago, even more so. And he said that they were seeing then that little boys and little girls were coming into puberty 3 and 4 years earlier than they normally would expect. And they were thinking, just doctors talking amongst each other, they were thinking that it's because of what's in the food.
Right.
And I thought, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's not only what the animals are eating and being ingested with, but it's also what you're eating and ingesting whatever the animals ate and what they were ingested with. So
it's crazy.
So between the chickens eating the corn and then her eating the eggs, which you wouldn't think that there would be much, but there's a lot to that.
There is definitely a lot to that.
Yeah.
So you guys grew in the Messianic faith.
Yeah.
And that was still in Colorado, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but along, you were led to Homestead. How did that come about?
We were homesteading in Colorado.
That came about. We were actually going to a concert in Denver, and it's just a good time, good country concert. And we lived out in the country then, but somebody said, "Hey, why don't you take this light rail? It's like a light rail into the city and go enjoy the concert. And it's easier to get in and get out, which it was. So I remember we were walking on our way back to the light rail. You had to walk over a couple tracks and whatever. And all these people were being let out. And we were just kind of having a good time. Everybody was laughing and having a good time. And somebody just really started getting very upset with us, and that we were like walking 10 steps ahead of them, and just really started getting, really trying to get into a...
Oh, dear.
And I think people were a little happy. And we just kind of ignored it as best we could and just tried to diffuse it. And but anyway, we got on the light rail, and we were thinking to ourselves, wow, this is good times, and people are upset about the littlest thing. What's going to happen when things aren't so good? And people, and then we can talk a little bit about the history of, with my grandparents, but what happens if food starts to run out? What happens if toilet paper goes away?
Yes.
This was way before COVID. You know, we started thinking, these are good times. What's going to happen when those things are absent and they don't have that? So that's actually what caused us to pretty much go home and start to evaluate those things that we were going to get started on the homestead.
Yeah.
And then I guess we had the opportunity, because we started really looking at all these different books to talk about what was happening during the Depression. And then we realized, wait a minute, my grandmother lived through the Depression.
Yeah.
Yes.
What a better resource to be able to just go ask whatever questions they were.
Absolutely.
What a blessing.
Yes.
And so, and it was kind of interesting because my parents didn't want anything to do with homesteading or having a farm or any of that other stuff. And that's okay. But we took advantage of learning how to, my wife would go over there, we'd learn how to can, we were taking notes, we were...
What a blessing.
Just all these different things about food preservation. And finally I just came out and I said to her, so Grandma, when you went through the Depression, what's the one thing that would really set apart, those that were really in need and those that they did okay through that? And she said, if you had a milk cow, you were the cat's meow. Like if you had that milk cow, you were golden with it. And it was just it was like wow, we can do that. And we just learned so much from her. And it's kind of interesting because people started looking at us like, well, you're kind of weird. Why are you doing this, that, and another?
Yeah. But that milk cow conversation really
stuck.
And because she was saying how much better off their family was when they had that milk cow.
Yes.
And all the adventures that she had with the cow. It was so wonderful. But we were out in the country at the time, and we had horses and chickens, but we didn't have enough property for cows.
They wouldn't allow the cows on the HOA that we
Yeah.
Okay. Too close to the city, maybe, or the suburbs.
It was a homeowners association area. So
so even though we had property, you couldn't have the cows. You could have the horses.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But you couldn't have the cows.
Huh.
Yeah.
So we just focused on the chickens and all the food preservation. We did gardens. We started to learn how to plant things and continued going down that path of her feeling better. And I don't know, just I think we kind of
The better I felt, the more I could do.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Hanging out with the chickens, and
Yeah.
that's cheap entertainment.
Yes.
It's just to go out there and sit and watch them go hunt and peck and everything. It was kind of a fun thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And watching all the animals, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's
We
kind
had
of cool.
Huge garden
Oh, how
in
wonderful.
Elizabeth. Huge garden. And so I did the canning, and we bought a freeze dryer.
Oh,
and
fun.
started to freeze dry a bunch
Yes.
of food. That was fun. It is fun.
Yeah.
So when we came here, do we want to talk about how?
Yeah. So what led you to come leave Colorado,
Colorado.
Leave all
And
of our
come-
family roots. Leave our entire
everything,
family
and come
We
here?
were in that house for 22 years. We were
I
not
have a
planning
feeling
on
that
moving.
the Lord had something to do with this.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Do you want to?
He started to make it really difficult to stay.
He does that sometimes.
He does that sometimes. And then we would come out here every year, and Sukkot in Chandler.
Yeah.
And one year, it had
Yes.
kind of been laying on both of our hearts that I think the Lord's going to be moving us, but we needed that confirmation.
And then COVID came around.
Okay.
And so the one thing that really kind of came about with me was in Colorado, they were mandating the COVID injections.
Yes.
And I knew as a nurse that, like, wait a minute, there couldn't have been trials, there couldn't have been anything else. We don't know what the side effects of those are. We can't do it. And I actually refused to get the injection, and the state was kind of like, well, you're going to have it. And I said, well, then I guess I got to have religious exemption. And then they're like, well, we don't even know if we're going to allow that. And there were some states like Oregon that didn't allow religious exemptions. And so we'd come down to Sakota, and I said, well, if that's it, I'm just going to sell everything, and I'm going to move to Oklahoma because Oklahoma didn't create that mandate.
And we kind of joked about it at first. We were like, go ahead. Keep pushing, and we will just sell everything we own, and we'll move to Oklahoma, and not
And
being
the Lord
serious.
said, okay.
Well, but what happened was they all of a sudden, like 2 weeks later, the state came across and had like, oh, okay, we're going to allow religious exemption, and it was almost like under the breath, like, well, you didn't really need to do that, right? And so I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm going to stay here. And what was interesting was I actually got a promotion at that point. I got a promotion up to become a director. And I thought, wow, this is really kind of cool. And then we came to Sakota the following year, and just the people, we just fell in love with the people here.
Yes.
I mean, whether you're in the congregation or whether you're not in the congregation, we always had fun with the Home Depot test. Like here, if I go into Home Depot, I can ask, hey, do you have this part? And somebody will like literally grab me and be like,
walk you through
where it's at. And then they'll start to go, well, did you think about this? And did you think about that? And you're like, well, no, I didn't. But now I am, like, save me a trip.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yes.
And so we just fell in love with the people. Yeah. And we, on our way home from Sakota, we both kind of had it under we were both kind of looking at each other. And when you're married for as long as we have, you start to kind of know what's going on. And then I just blurted it out. I was like, I think we need to move to Oklahoma. And she was like, yep. And so for the 12-hour drive home, that's all we were talking about. How are we going to tell them? How are we going to do this? How are we going to do that?
But you did.
We did. And so well, that was in October. Mm-hmm. And
so literally right after Sakota.
Yeah.
Or as you were going home from Sakota.
Yeah.
Wow.
We left our RV here in Oklahoma because we were like, we're coming back. There's no reason to take it home.
Yeah.
So we went home and we had our house on the market in December.
Right.
And we were like, okay, Lord, if this is really what you want us to do, then you're going to sell our house. And
That's right.
We didn't even start. We started looking, but we were not in any position to buy until our house there sold.
Sure.
Because we needed that confirmation.
Absolutely.
And
then the real estate agent, yeah.
Yeah.
So Yaron is actually from Israel. He was our real estate agent.
Oh, wow.
And we were like, wow. And he walks in and we didn't have any. So he looks at the menorah that we actually had and he goes,
He said, that's a replica of the menorah in front of the Knesset. And I was like, how do you know that?
So he actually sat down and he looked through the house and he goes, wow, you guys really did a lot of upgrades and a lot of things to it. This is what I think you're going to get for your house. And I was just like, what? I mean,
okay.
I knew that Colorado was like completely blown up in the real estate department.
Yeah.
And so.
And he kind of lowballed in my eyes. Mm-hmm. And I said, I think it needs to be a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And he said, okay, tell me why. And I did. I told him, that our house is better than the one across the street. And that one went for so much. Mm-hmm. And
you laid out your case.
Yeah. And I said, if the Lord wants us to move,
yes,
He'll provide the buyer.
Right.
I mean,
that's it.
She had a lot of faith with that one. She was like, okay, we're going to do this. You're going to make it happen, Lord. That's just how it is.
And that's the way we should be with everything.
Everything.
I mean, we don't always do that, but wow, we should be.
But when we start to do that and really throw our hands up and go, okay, Lord, this is all on you. Is this the direction that you want us to go?
Yes.
Then open the door or close it. But I'm going to only move when you tell me to.
That's right.
He starts to do things, and it really starts to build your faith.
Yes.
And it's that relationship really is a two-way conversation.
Yes, it is.
And so when we ask for that confirmation, he will give us that witness and provide that answer.
100%.
And then our relationship with him builds.
Yes.
And we get stronger in our faith,
Yes.
and we worry less,
Amen to that.
and we stress less,
Amen to
because
that.
he's got
us.
everything.
Yes.
He's
that's
got
right.
us.
That's right. And if we could, if we could just remember that every time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I find myself getting caught, I'm winding, I can tell I'm getting, and then I'll say, stop.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just sit still for a minute. Get yourself back together.
Yeah.
He's really got you. It's okay.
Yeah.
Forgive me, Lord, for freaking out there for a minute,
Right.
kind of thing. But you're so right. And then it does build your faith. And he does show himself. I always say, thank you for letting us see the work of your hand.
Yeah.
Because there are times when what just happened was God. You know
Absolutely.
it for absolute certainty. And that's all you can do is just stand back and say, wow.
And I think sometimes the trial is in the waiting.
Yes. Most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah.
Yes.
We would drive out here to look at a property or look at a house, and weren't finding much. And we had, a list of, must-haves and wants and
Yes.
Needs.
and
Needs,
needs.
yeah.
Mostly the needs of the wants.
Room for cows.
So we were actually looking at an 80-acre property, and our on our qualifications, it had to have at least 10.
Yeah.
And so we were looking at this 80-acre property, and we'd been eyeing it for a while and really excited to go see it, and it just was not par. It was not hardly livable. And so this was a Saturday. We drove back to Colorado. We saw property on Friday, drove back on Saturday because Tim's birthday was on Sunday.
Okay.
And my mom was throwing us a birthday party / going away party.
Because we'd actually already sold the house. It was just,
wow.
We
Yeah.
were just waiting for the contract for closing, right?
And we had no place to come. We had no place to go. So that morning,
I woke up and I was looking at one of the real estate apps, and I saw the house that we live in right now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at that. That has the pond that we want. It has the acreage that we want. It has everything. And we're like, and it just had come on, and we had I called my agent and I said, we need to start with this on the house. And she called back, and it was only put on there. She was like, well, they already have they had 2 bids. Mm-hmm. So we kind of got into a little bit of a bidding war with it. But ultimately, we won the contract, and she said, well, you better come down here.
You have like 72
hours to either keep this or back out of it or whatever. So
my goodness.
So we drove all night long. We were so excited. We drove all night long, taking turns, going back and forth.
Yes. Thank you so much for watching this episode with Dana and Tim Herrera and myself talking about their adventures in homesteading, walking the Torah life, and living a healthy life. Join us next week when Dana and Tim will share with us about the farming life, the cows, and all of the health benefits they're learning about and enjoying being homesteaders. And remember, the King is coming. Keep those oil lamps full. And I'll see you next week.
Shalom, everyone. I'm Monty Judah with Lionel Lamb Ministries. I would like to invite you to subscribe to lionellamb.tv. Not only will you see all the materials of Lionel Lamb Ministries, but also Eddie Chumney of Hebraic Heritage Ministries. His materials and teaching is also on that platform.